Integrity is the electronic filing system of the Office of Government Ethics for public financial disclosure reports. OGE has designed the system with several advanced features designed to ease the burden on filers, increase the accuracy of reports, and simplify the review process. The system is free for executive branch agencies and feature a variety of different workflows so that you can tailor the system to the specific needs of your agency. In this video, we will introduce you to a few of Integrity's features. OGE named the system Integrity to signal to filers from the start that financial disclosure is more than a paper-pushing exercise. As the name Integrity suggests, the primary purpose of financial disclosure in the executive branch is to prevent conflicts of interest. To access the system, filers visit integrity.gov and select the Login button. Integrity is very secure because it leverages max.gov for user authentication. This platform is an existing federal system that currently has well over 100,000 users. Max.gov is fully FedRAMPed for use by any government agency at the FISMA FIPS-199 level, which is the level designated for systems whose failure could have a serious adverse effect on organizational operations, organizational assets, or individuals. To log into Integrity, users enter their existing Max ID. At some agencies, they can simply swipe their PIV or CAC card. Filers then start a report or continue working on an existing report. The filer can elect to pre-populate the report with the data from a previous report. The heart of Integrity is a simplified table that allows filers to enter assets much like the traditional report. At the top are plain English instructions, and entries are listed in rows. We have done away with the 1970s grid format and created a more modern display similar to a brokerage statement. Amounts are stated in ranges. Filers can search for items in the table using a search field. They can also sort the table by any of the columns. On the left is a navigation bar. Each time a filer completes a section of Integrity, the navigation bar displays an additional link. The filer can use the links to navigate to any completed section and make changes or additions. The navigation bar can be collapsed to give the filer more room to view entries in the table. To add a new item to the table, the filer selects Add New Item. A field appears on the right, and the filer adds the item without ever leaving the system. Staying on the same screen is a significant advantage over many other e-filing systems because it saves time, and the time savings can really add up when the filer has a number of items to enter. The data entry fields are specifically designed to guide the filer to enter the correct information the first time, which will also save agency ethics officials time when reviewing the report. After entering the information, the filer clicks the Save button, and the information is added to the table on the left. This information is now saved to the system. The filer can leave and come back later. If, for instance, the filer's internet connection fails, the filer's information will not be lost. The system will suggest autocomplete names when a filer enters an asset. We have programmed 13,000 asset names into the system and will add more in the future. If the filer needs to enter sub-assets of a parent investment fund, the system will draw from the names of assets that the filer has already entered into the report in order to suggest a parent. By selecting a parent, the report will associate the sub-asset with the parent so that reviewers will know the filer has disclosed the sub-assets of the investment fund. The parent and sub-assets now appear in the system, and the line numbering clearly identifies the sub-assets as associated with the parent. Drop-down lists make selecting value and income categories easy. Throughout Integrity, the filer is able to access explanations and definitions by clicking on any of the large blue question marks, like this one. When a filer clicks on the blue question mark, an explanation or definition pops up. The filer can return to the screen by closing the pop-up. The system also allows filers with complex assets or circumstances to add endnotes. A filer can cut and paste text from Microsoft Word or another external program. The phrase "see EndNote" is then added to the description of an item, and the EndNote appears at the end of the publicly available report to be released with the report. Integrity also reduces errors by prompting filers to stop and assess whether they may have forgotten certain commonly omitted financial interests. Integrity allows filers to import data from their 278T periodic transaction reports that they filed throughout the year. Filers simply select the reports they want to enter from a list that Integrity generates based on previous filings. Filers can then add any new transactions manually. This feature ensures that agency ethics officials will be able to review all of the year's transactions in a single place. On the review side, ethics officials will find that Integrity makes their jobs easier. Integrity can compare a report with the previously filed report. The reviewer can use this feature to focus only on the items that have changes since the last report. As a result, the review process is much faster. The system allows a reviewer to send the filer comments. To make things even easier for both the reviewer and the filer, the reviewer can make the comments in line, meaning right below an individual entry. The reviewer can choose to make the comment a private communication between only the reviewer and the filer. Or the reviewer can choose to make the comment public so that it will appear on the face of the report, which can be useful when a brief explanation is needed. Another exciting feature is that Integrity allows the reviewer to actually make a correction for the filer. A robust audit trail keeps a log of who made the changes and when they made them, so there is no concern about inadvertent errors or unauthorized changes being attributed to the filer. After making all entries, the filer can view a rendering of all sections of the report. By selecting the yellow Edit Section buttons on the right side of the screen, the filer can choose to go back and edit the entries for any section. The new layout is cleaner than the traditional 278 report and resembles a brokerage statement. This enhanced layout makes it easier to read the report and understand the individual entries on the report. Integrity also has a very advanced wizard feature. The wizard ensures that filers will not forget to enter required financial information. However, we did not want to overwhelm the filer with questions, so we focused the wizard on the two specific areas where filers most often forget to enter information: assets and income related to their outside employment, and assets and income related to the employment of their spouses. To ensure that Integrity is as efficient as possible for filers, we have tied the wizard to the filer's employment outside the government. If the filer lists a position outside the government, Integrity will walk the filer through the wizard with questions focused on the types of income and assets associated with that position. On the other hand, if the filer does not have any outside positions, Integrity will skip the wizard and take the filer directly to one of the tables where the filer can enter relevant information without having to answer the questions. Most filers who are current government employees will be able to skip the wizard because they do not have outside jobs. The wizard will appear only when it is most needed because Integrity only asks the questions that are relevant to an individual filer. Within the table for outside positions, the filer selects a type of position. In this instance, the filer indicates that the organization is a corporation and that the nature of the position is employee, officer, or director. As a result of this selection, the wizard will ask the filer questions about assets and types of income commonly associated with corporate positions. The wizard asks a completely different set of questions if the filer selects a different type of organization and a different type of position. For instance, if the filer selects university, the system now offers the choice of selecting professor. Based on these selections by the filer, the system will choose a specific path through the wizard, and Integrity will ask only the questions that are most relevant to that filer. In the case of our filer who is a corporate officer, Integrity asks her to identify items from a list of common income and asset types that we've encountered in connection with corporate positions. The filer can select several items or can select none. After a filer has identified all of the types of assets and income related to a particular position, Integrity takes the filer to a landing page, where the filer can view her progress through the wizard. The filer can click on the pen and paper icon next to one of the items to enter the wizard section that will ask questions about that item. Here, we can see that the filer has completed the stock options section and is ready to move on to restricted stock. By clicking on the icon next to restricted stock, the filer will have an opportunity to answer questions about her restricted stock. Once she has completed those questions, she can return to this landing page and work on the next item, which in this case is salary and bonus. After finishing all of the items, the filer can work on items associated with her next position in the list. In the wizard, the filer answers questions about her assets, which in this case are stock options. Integrity's wizard is a dynamic system that asks follow-up questions as needed. For instance, here the filer is asked whether she knows how to value her stock options. If she selects yes, a drop-down list will appear for her to choose a value category. However, it can sometimes be hard to value stock options, so our filer might answer no. In that case, a text field appears instead of a drop box. To the right of that box is a set of instructions telling the filer that when it's not possible to value stock options, OGE allows a filer to provide additional information about the options, including the strike price, the number of shares, and other items that can be used to give readers a sense of the size of the financial interest in the absence of a value. Following these instructions, the filer will know how to report this complex asset. On the other hand, a filer who does not have any stock options will never have to see this screen, because Integrity asks only the most relevant questions. In a traditional Paper 278 report, filers sometimes forget to complete Schedule C Part 2, where they are required to describe what will happen to certain assets related to their non-government employment. Integrity solves this problem by asking about these arrangements in the wizard. In this case, Integrity asks this filer what will happen to her stock options at the stage of completing her report when she is already focused on her stock options, thereby eliminating the risk that she will forget to supply this information later. Integrity poses similar wizard questions about the employment assets and income of the filer's spouse, but Integrity won't ask these questions if the filer does not have a spouse. Remember, Integrity only asks questions that are relevant to an individual filer. After a filer has completed the wizard, all of the filer's entries appear in the relevant tables. To make changes or add additional employment-related assets, the filer simply makes edits or additions to the table without needing to return to the wizard. This video has focused on some of Integrity's notable features. There's much more we can tell you about Integrity. If you would like more information, go to OGE's max.gov page on Integrity, which includes a growing number of helpful system resources, including a detailed user guide and separate sections for filers, reviewers, and administrators. OGE also maintains help desk services for Integrity. Thank you for watching this introduction to Integrity. We are looking forward to working with you as we enter this new era of financial disclosure.